As per request, the next review will be on the game Dishonored. Normally I don't like to do reviews on these older games, but I look at the message boards and feel there are things I can add to the conversation, so we'll go for it. The premise behind this game is you're a badass assassin who has been wrongfully blamed for the Empress's murder. At this point, you join a band of loyalists to clear your name and set up the rightful heir to the throne. This is all accomplished through first-person stealth gameplay. My first question to Bethesda about this title would be, why is this game in first person? This might just be me, but first-person perspective feels detrimental to stealth gameplay. Think of Mark of the Ninja as a great example. In that game, because the camera is taking in the entire environment along with your character, you can get a really good idea as far as what is in your area. You can clearly see what can kill you, where you can hide, where you can run, where paths will lead, and so on. But with first-person perspective, you're limited to what is directly in front of you. It works in shooters because of the synergy it has with aiming a weapon, but in a stealth game where you want to have as much information as possible about your surroundings, it makes no sense to limit my field of vision in that way. Numerous times I was sneaking up on a target and got caught from behind because an enemy was outside of the direct line of vision in front of my character. The first-person stealth isn't the only complaint I have when it comes to the gameplay and mechanics. Another question I'd have to ask Bethesda is, why bother having the skill tree? I mean, really. The blink ability is automatically given to the player, and that's really the only one you need. It's a great tool for mobility and can make getting to objectives possible in so many more ways than the obvious. But then your skill tree goes into varying spells and stat upgrades. Now, the spells I'm not too upset about, but there are stat upgrades such as being able to move quicker. Now, this may not seem too bad and may seem like a justifiable upgrade, but the player character moves at a snail's pace by default. If you want any sort of decent movement speed, you have to waste your runes building into this stat, where I could be pumping them into something funner like summoning an army of killer rats. The skill tree also seems completely worthless, as there are little optional quests in this game. At the start of main missions, normally an NPC will come up and offer me an optional quest. The reward has always been money from what I've seen. Money that I've only ever used to buy runes from the shopkeep NPC. Why not get rid of the skill tree then and have the different spells and stat upgrades be the rewards for completing these optional quests? I don't care if it even makes sense or not. Like having an NPC just happen to have a book that teaches me to jump higher or some sort of nonsense like that. If you're going to have side quests, the rewards should matter. Like in Final Fantasy or the Fallout games, the side quests usually rewarded the players with really good pieces of equipment or something. In this one, I get more of the same resource there is an extreme abundance of in this game. Makes me wonder why I should even bother. Speaking of not bothering with what the game wants me to do, there's a moral system in the game where the good ending is achieved through killing little to no people at all. And I think this is what Bethesda wants me to do, right? But aside from the prison guards in the first level, the game makes no real attempt to convince me not to kill the other soldiers. Now, some of them may mention something a little bit on the lighter side, but for the most part, they seem to take a degree of joy in bullying the sick people to the point it makes me say, fuck it, might as well kill them anyway. It's faster. That and most of my arsenal is all gleeful murder, so it seems like the game is trying to give me all these fun toys to play with and then coming in like some buzzkill parent telling me to stop. Now, if you don't like where this review is going, you may want to bring up the Thief games to throw in my face as successful first-person stealth games. And while they are first-person stealth games, they have one key thing Dishonored is missing: a likable protagonist. Garrett is an absolute joy to be around, so much so that I can stand core gameplay I don't like just to see what this guy does next. Dishonored doesn't really have that. Instead, it's a baffling silent protagonist that Bethesda gave us a full character backstory to. The point of a silent protagonist is for the player to project themselves onto the role, and with that sort of character, having a minimal backstory is best. In this game, Corvo is his own character. He just doesn't talk. He's got a career, respect among his peers, loved ones, and prior to the events of the game, he did something important in some war for the Empress. It makes zero sense for this character to be silent. Some of the levels and parts of the plot make little sense either. To avoid heavy spoilers, the one I want to pick on real quick is the one where you go to the costume party. At this point in the game, I've broken out of prison, killed at least 3 major political figures, and kidnapped a renowned scientist, and because I've got the same mask on that I did all of this with, I can blend right in? I'm lost here. My character looks like one of the guards with a Skeletor mask on, and especially the way I've been playing, I leave a trail of bodies through every level, which according to one of the help screens the game kept shoving in my face early on, is supposed to influence my environment and the behavior of NPCs. Yet I can mingle with party guests who all wear one of 3 different formal suits? I'm not even remotely in the correct clothing, and I don't stand out to the guards? Don't get me wrong, a level where you search for clues to find the right target to kill is a nifty idea. It's just all these little attentions to detail seem to have been thrown out the window so they could pad out the game length. All in all, I'm just glad I got this game on sale. Knowing what I know now, I wouldn't buy the game for any other reason than to review on my channel. Nothing about the game appealed to me from the beginning. The very concept of first-person stealth is a very flawed idea in my opinion. I don't understand how this title has been getting so many positive reviews. Is it just because of the steampunk shtick? Maybe it's because while it was disappointing to me, in the way it was presented with some slight tweaking, I think it could be awesome. Change the first person to top down or third person, get rid of the skill tree and earn abilities another way, make me feel sympathetic towards the guards and their dialogue so I don't want to kill them, and most importantly, give me a protagonist to root for and stand behind. Well, not gonna dwell on it.